Jackson and Sandy Bensall, and today we have Kristina Holweiss. She is in space. No, she's not really in space, but she has a beautiful background for those that are listening. And I heard about Kristina when I was working with WeVideo and trying different challenges, and she is a WeVideo skilled educator. She is a librarian by trade, but we know that all librarians are teachers. At least that's my opinion.
Right. Yep, we all are.
So welcome, and we're so happy you joined us today, Kristina.
Well, thank you so much for having me. It's a Saturday morning here in New York, and my kids are in the other room, so that's why I had the space background. It's my bedroom, so if this falls, you're going to see my shoe rack. But I think, like every educator, we're trying to carve out that little bit of time and space for our own, and everything is kind of like this nebulous
my gosh.
Oh,
love this woman.
crossover between what is career, what is home, what is professional, and I think it's kind of blended. So that's why I'm hiding out in my bedroom right now.
That's right.
Wow. I was going to say, Karen, you've also got a nice background.
This is actually my dining room that we never use. Well, we use twice a year, Christmas and Thanksgiving.
My dining room has become my school.
Yeah.
My kids are my two kids are going back to their full time. So they are in fifth grade and third grade, and my sixth grader, the secondary schools are in every other day. So he's in school Tuesdays and Thursdays, at home Wednesdays and Fridays, and in school every other Monday, because sometimes Mondays we have holidays. So because the kids move from class to class, they're trying to minimize the contact, whereas in the elementary school, they're in the classroom all day long. So that's why they eventually went that route.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
So how do you keep track of that? I mean, you just like have a big calendar you write things on, or?
It's getting a little crazy because, now that they're getting older, their workload is getting harder. And with, my kids, my boys are in Boy Scouts, so they have sometimes virtual meetings, sometimes meetings, but they're all outside in the snow. We literally had a meeting in the snow yesterday. My daughter has dance, but she goes to dance because they're small classes and they are socially distanced. And then they take Taekwondo, which they have not been in the building for a year now because, again, Taekwondo is a physical sport, so we've been keeping them home, and they do it virtually in our basement. Yeah, so it takes a while to juggle things, but my husband has off on Monday, so he takes care of them. We have a sitter come in every day to get them off to school, and then a sitter who watches my one son. I'm not comfortable with kids being home by themselves yet.
Sure.
So she's there. She's here 2 days a week. So
wow,
it takes juggling. But, other people are doing more than we are. And other people, their kids are home full time, and that's difficult. So we have that luxury that, my son is only here 2 days a week, and we have a sitter. So, but it's hard for people. It's hard for people to juggle home and school and career and life.
Yeah. I was wondering how you work that, because three different levels and three different school schedules, and then your schedule and your husband's schedule. That's very interesting. So it sounds like
the two middle ones are in the same school, so that's good. The bus comes for them, and then the older one, he's in a different school. But next year, they'll all be three in different schools because our sixth grade is on its own. So my one son will be in the 7th and 8th grade building. One will be in the 6th grade building, and my daughter will be in the 3rd, 4th, 5th grade building. So, yeah.
Different buses then? I mean, they won't.
Well, the buses, they'll have different buses, but then my 7th grader, then, my future 7th grader, the school is close by, but it's over a major road. So he'll be walking or we'll be driving. I don't know. I'm not even looking. I have to cross that bridge when I get to it.
Yeah, really.
You know
So-
what? This too shall pass.
Yes. Sandy, what were you going to ask?
No, I was just going to say something following what you said, Karen. So you have been, Kristina, named as the school librarian of the year, which means you're really organized.
Yes.
Librarians are.
Yeah.
Well, this one isn't. I try to be, but in my library, I had a makerspace, so I tend to get a little messy sometimes, and I tell. I'm a big hyperlink. My head, as soon as I must have like adult ADD, because as soon as I'm like, oh, squirrel, that's another idea, and I have post-it notes all over the place because I have all these ideas that I need to organize. So I need to be organized. I need organization, but the books were organized for the kids. The makerspace supplies were labeled, but don't look in my back room. Don't look at my workspace, my desk, which was full of papers and everything. My space reflected my brain. So yeah, don't look at that part.
No, but I personally think if I'm very scatty with everything, I'm more likely to find everything. Whereas if it's organized, I can't find it.
Or I'll find something. I'm like, oh wow, I was pretty smart putting it over there. I'd never have thought to put that there, but I did. Look at that. I surprise myself sometimes.
I tried to get organized, but I had too many folders that were due now. I had like nine hair on fire things I had to do, and then you got to triage somewhere.
Exactly. Oh, yeah, to do, and it sits there for like months. Oh, I guess I do need to do that.
Or maybe it wasn't as important as we thought at the time. That's the skill. I think the decision making is the skill. If I could bequeath a gift to every educator, it would be how do you make that decision? What deserves your 2-minute attention? That can be something that can be done in 2 minutes, and then it's done.
Right. And I'm always playing the game of, all right, I'll plow through this work, and then I'll reward myself with that email, or I'll plow through, and then I'm like, as I'm working, I'm like, oh, but that email's calling me, but that Twitter chat's calling me, and I'm like, okay, forget this, I'll go there. And it's hard because I'm trying to model that for my kids, and especially my oldest one is in 6th grade, and I'm trying to model it for him, and he's me, and I'm like, oh no, I don't know how to help you because I am you. Like yesterday, he kept getting up late at night, and he's like, can I go to the bathroom? Can I get a drink? Can I do this? Can I do that? And I'm like, it's me. I would never go to bed. I don't go to bed, and I'm just up, and it's me. And I'm like, oh my gosh, I'm trying to mentor someone like me that I need mentoring for. I'm like, oh no.
Fantastic. Tell us the journey about the librarian. So in 2015.
Mm-hmm.
So before that, you was a teacher.
Well, I was a 7th grade English teacher for 9 years. And then one day I loved it. But I was married the 3rd year in, and I had no kids. So I put everything into my job, and I sat down with a student one day, and we figured out that 10,000 things passed my desk in a year.
Wow.
I would give my own progress reports before computers. I would handwrite things. I mean, it was 95 when I started. I did so much, and I couldn't let it go. But I love technology, so I went back to be a technology specialist in 2000. But there were no jobs, so I said, "Well, I love technology and I love books. Librarian is perfect."
Yeah.
So I was so I left my position at the school where I was a student when I was a kid. So I was teaching with people I had gone that they were teachers when I was there. I was there for 9 years, and I left to be a school librarian in a middle school. And it was actually the district where my mother-in-law had formerly been a teacher's assistant in one of the other schools. And so I was there for 5 years, and then they were accessing. It was 2009. And so, and then my husband lost his job in January, and I went to Human Resources in 2000 in March, and they told me that I'd be cut to part-time. And within my, beyond my tears, I said the first thing that could come to my mind was, will I have benefits? Because my husband lost his job, and they said, yes, you'll have benefits. Well, come June, I find out I don't have benefits. And I didn't even ask for family benefits. I asked for, will I have benefits? I didn't have personal benefits, and I didn't have family benefits. And the problem was we were adopting our son from Korea. So I was going from 2 full-time paychecks for 2 people to half a paycheck for 3. And with 14 years experience in a really tough time, because it was 2009, the recession here.
Yes.
And I was maxed out at my master's plus 75 credits. Who was going to hire me? So I did find another district, and I was there for 9 years, and they took me in, and I was very happy there. That's where I became the school librarian of the year. And that's when I adopted our 3 children while I was there. And then my husband got a job. The story is that on my 40th birthday, I was in the shower. I was getting ready for my interview. Now, I thought it was just a I thought I was just talking to the superintendent. I didn't know I was getting the job that day. It was my 40th birthday. I was getting ready for that interview, and I get a phone call, and they told me that I was a mom. My son, I had a son from Korea. And so all that on my 40th birthday.
Wow. Yeah.
So that was looking out for me. And that was whatever you believe in, that's what that was.
Yeah.
And so, I go to the interview, and I took a pay cut. I was like, I got a paycheck. I don't care. But my former job was going to keep me part-time in an elementary school, and I'm not an elementary school educator, and part-time. So I was driving home. We had a flood in our basement. I drove home. I went to a local hardware store, Home Depot, to get some planking, and I'm calling my husband, telling him I got the job, but I don't tell him we have a son because I'm waiting for him to get home. So thank God. And then I'd like to see what the pulse is of librarian positions. So I went on our county job list, and I'd like to see who's retiring, who's moving in the librarian world, and which districts are rehiring. Because in New York State, elementary school librarians are not state mandated. Only secondary. So if you are a middle school or high school librarian, if you were hired after the elementary school librarians and there was getting cuts, the elementary school librarians would have to go, and then you would be put down in the elementary school. So yes, in New York State, there is no state mandate for elementary school librarians. And in some states, there's no state mandate at all for any librarians. So yeah, so that was, so I saw this position, and it literally said basically my name on it. It was for an ed tech specialist, which I was.
Yeah.
And I was working with a library team.
Oh, fun.
There were 2 librarians that I was going to be working with, and the library world is very small. I had applied for a library job years ago. So when I came back, I said, oh, now I'm school librarian of the year. Now I'm going to be the ed tech specialist here. So it's pretty funny. But I love working where I am because I have my innovation lab. It's part of the Library Learning Commons, so it's wonderful. If you look up in School Library Journal, you could look up SYOSSET, SYOSSET, and this was planned before I got there. It was the librarian's plan. I stepped in at the right time. And it's a very long hallway. There's the library proper, and then to the right is a pilot classroom, which used to be a computer lab, and they use that for people to come in. There are monitors there for the students to hook up their computers. There's dry erase boards, so it's almost like an entrepreneur think tank. It's
Yeah.
on the right. Then there is a small room that is called a tech center. So it's teachers actively collaborating so teachers can teach each other. And then there's my room, which has the 3D printer and the green screens and all the fun toys. But there are windows throughout. So I literally could look through my room all the way through all 4 rooms to the other end.
That's awesome.
And I work with 2 fabulous librarians, and I have a fabulous administrator. So I've always stepped into where I was supposed to be. Again, I loved my job, loved my last job.
Mhm.
This
This is
had my
for you.
name on it.
Yeah.
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 Things happen for a reason.
Yes.
And then a friend of mine was also looking for a job. So I would look for her and I'd be like, oh, there's another job opening. And then I saw this one. I said, wait a minute, that one's for me.
Yeah. Yeah. That's awesome. Now in Texas, librarians are coming to be called media specialists.
In New York, they are school library media specialists. That's what we are called
Yeah.
in New York.
Yeah. That's interesting.
I know in Australia, the teacher librarians, some people like using teacher librarians, some school media specialists. Oh, there are a lot of official names.
Yeah.
But I think what's important to know is we are teachers, we are
Mhm.
educators, we are leaders, we
Mhm.
are staff developers, and at the very heart, we are librarians. So we understand all those things about copyright and book recommendations. It's a really great position because you have everything.
Yeah. Yeah. You touch every part of the school.
Yeah,
That's,
it's
I think that's,
accessibility.
yeah.
It doesn't matter what kind of outcomes in the room. It could be, and again, it could be someone who's self-contained. It could be an honor student. It could be whatever grade level.
Hmm.
Access for everyone.
Hmm. And also, the library is where PD takes place. It's either going to be in the library or it's going to be in the computer lab. And people don't like the computer lab because the teachers are all facing the screen, you know.
Right.
But they like having meetings in the library because, you can talk and you can get in groups and you can have posters up and discuss. And yeah, it's a welcoming place. We were talking a little earlier about the feel of a library, the culture of a library. How do you see your library culture? What do you try to develop in your realm?
Well, again, I'm in the innovation lab, and I'm so happy that there was already culture before I got there.
Mm.
Again, the 2 librarians, Lynn Ortlieb and Sarah Wasser, are just a fabulous, and our administrator, David Steinberg. They when I came, they transformed the whole library. They got new furniture, everything. That I happened to walk in. Yeah, I was like, okay, this is great. And they gave me a room that again they just transformed from another computer lab, and some basic furniture, and they said, okay, there's your blank slate. There's your canvas, paint it.
Mm. Awesome.
But there is already a culture of the library is the center of the school. They already created that. It's
Mm.
welcoming, it's inviting. Teachers know that they can go to them. Students know that they can go to them. They just put up a Genius bar.
Oh,
So
wow.
yeah, it's amazing. So right now we can't have students because of the pandemic, but they are doing like a grab and go. They can order books and they can grab, books, and they can come to the Genius Bar. We do have an IT person who's helping them with the Chromebooks.
Hmm.
But eventually, what the plan is that we will have some of our students Acer certified. Acer is our brand of
Oh,
Chromebook,
all
and they
right.
will have internships where they can actually work in the library at the Genius Bar and
Awesome.
do basic repairs on the students' computers.
Awesome. Yeah, Temple is right. Acer is in Temple. As a matter of fact, it's about a
Oh,
stone's throw from my house. And our district was really involved for a while in that students were helping repair Chromebooks and really saved the district a lot of money. So yeah, we're pro Acer. As truth be told, both my sons work for Acer.
oh, that's awesome.
They
So did you like
repair.
the did you like the program?
Oh yeah, yeah. I thought it was really great because um, once they became like student ambassadors, and then they could troubleshoot and help teachers with the interface of between student and teacher with a Chromebook. So it was very useful to teach those high school students how to work on them, how to prepare. It was
That's
great.
exactly the plan. Thank you for, yeah,
Mhm.
that's our plan.
Yeah, they're a great. They have a very strong educational arm. You know, so they're very supportive.
Well, that's great to know. Thank you.
And no, I don't get any kickbacks from Acer.
There's a little disclaimer. No kickbacks from
Yeah,
Acer.
yeah,
I was going to say, if the way things are now, it's so hard to get any work experience or internship. So if we can do it in school, so much better to build the confidence up of all students who anyone wants to get
That's
into.
true.
yeah.
Yeah, that's a really good point. Yeah. Something, and I always say, like, yeah, I'm not belittling what we're going through, and people are going through. I honestly, people are going through worse than I am, much worse than I am. I don't know anyone who's passed away from COVID personally. So I'm very fortunate, but I really think it is a time where we could take advantage of learning things about our careers, learning things about teaching, learning things about ourselves. Um, and I think we need to really grow from this. And I think that's what happens when you have an obstacle or a challenge. There's a book Scholastic put out the kids wrote, and it was called September 12th.
Oh
It
wow.
wasn't September 11th. It was September 12th. It was the day after. What's the day after like? So what's
Mm,
the day after the pandemic is over? You
right.
know, I remember at September 11th, we were at the edge of our driveway and everyone's standing there with candles, and everyone had a flag on their car. And the year later, everyone, maybe 90% of people are at the edge of the driveways with candles at the vigil.
Yeah.
And the year after, maybe 80%. And then the flags start going away. We still
Hmm.
have a flag up in front of our house.
Yeah.
It's learning from that. And it's the day after this pandemic is over that I hope that we learn something from it.
Mm.
Right. Right. That's true. Yeah. There's got to be I think the hope is when you can look at a tragedy and find something positive to take from it, because otherwise it's just too devastating to bear. There's got to be. I always look for something positive because it helps me get through and helps me recover. And so, yeah, that's very important. Awesome. So, let's talk about technology. What's your favorite tool? What's up now, and what are your
Ooh.
visions for the future?
Oh, I've got top tools. I would say definitely Flipgrid is up there. I've been using Flipgrid since 2014, and I'm an ambassador on their board. And Flipgrid, I've just seen them evolve and change, and just amazing, amazing.
Mhm.
Flipgrid is up there. Buncie's up there. I don't know if you've heard of Buncee. Buncee is a local company. So usually it's in California, but this is a local company, and it's awesome to have them here on Long Island. So Buncee is up there. And it's funny because I think these tools, years ago, it was like a competition. Right now, everyone's friends together. So if you go to Flipgrid, the Flipgrid guys know Buncee. You go to Buncee, they know the Wakelet people.
Yeah,
Everyone's friends together.
yeah,
So Wakelet is another big one. I love them. They're like a Padlet, Pinterest, more of education, but it's like really up there.
yeah,
I don't know if you've used it, but it's kind of like the best of everything put together. Um, and when they work with other tools, it's amazing. When they work with Buncee
yes.
and Flipgrid, Book Creator, I love.
Hmm.
Book Creator, We Video, of course. The new kid on the block that I'm working with is Whiteboard.chat, which is an interactive whiteboard. And it's a small company. It's a startup. They began basically last year, and because they're small, they listen, and within like a week, the changes are made.
Wow.
It's just this. Yeah, it's a small group of programmers, and they're really onto something. It's basically almost like a Jamboard, but it's an interactive whiteboard, and you will not believe. You have to look it up. The interactive whiteboard includes a chat, includes video conferencing within it. It's open source, but it has video
Wow.
conferencing in it. It has translation, so you could have a chat where you're writing in one language, and the person reading it is translated into their own language. So the chat's
Wow.
right in there. They have
I need that.
um,
That
it's
is so
oh my
cool.
gosh, it's great. Yeah, you should use Whiteboard Chat if you have to meet with people in other countries. It's great. We asked for Immersive Reader, which is a Microsoft learning tool, which is great for people with learning problems, and it translates. They layered that into it. I'm
Wow.
very concerned about accessibility. I said you really need not only text to speech, but speech to text. They put that in. I mean,
Wow.
they are so, again, all the companies I'm talking about, they're open to change, and they're open to what teachers have to say. This
Right.
one happens to be just a very small company, and they're starting out, so they can make changes very quickly. They're still learning, but it's kind of like, it's nice to see teachers helping them and them listening.
Yeah.
So those
Yeah.
are like my tops right now. I also love Slides Mania, which is not a tech tool, but she's an awesome woman who
Yeah.
creates these awesome Google Slide templates, and just for free. And I'm gonna give a shout out to her today, because on Twitter I just
Yeah.
noticed she wants to leave her job of finance and enter the world of education. So I would like to welcome Slides
Woo.
Mania into the world of
Yes.
education.
And
I think
that's also
that's,
PowerPoint as well.
yes,
So
PowerPoint.
the slide presentations are both PowerPoint and slides.
Yeah,
Beautiful.
so
Yeah.
she was an educator at heart. She didn't know it.
Yeah. I did
So,
not even know she was in finance.
right?
That's
I thought it was
awesome.
amazing. So those are my
Oh,
top tools right now. How about you?
Sandy, go ahead. Sorry.
I don't know. I mean, oh, you know what? That's really hard question for me.
Isn't it hard? It's really hard. But like I said, I look at what am I using every day? And
Yeah.
those are the tools I'm using every day.
Yeah.
There's a bunch of other ones, but they're more, I love remove.bg. I love Canva. I have to add Canva to
Yeah.
that mix because I use Canva every single day
Yeah.
as well. So I have to throw that into mix. I don't use that for like for gathering for like assessment and things like that. I use it for social media posts.
Right.
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 But
Yeah.
yeah, Canva's up there.
That's awesome.
I think Cami for me is good, and then I
Mm.
use some of the ones you've said. So WeVideo, but I use now whiteboard.fe.
FE or FI? Because I've heard of FI.
Oh yeah, FI.
Okay.
Whiteboard.fi. Yeah.
Right. Yes.
Yeah.
I haven't. I've heard about that. I haven't delved into it, but from what I've seen, people say Whiteboard.chat has more features, but I haven't done a comparison of the two. But again, people are like, okay, can you put this in? And they put it in, and you're like, okay, it's having your meal like prepared at a restaurant, and having the chef come out and you asking him what to make, like what's on the menu. He'll make your
What do you
menu.
want? Well, yeah. What do you want?
Yeah, that's
Wow.
what they're doing.
I always thought when I was in the classroom that if I could have like the Google Suite where there's interactivity, communication, and then something like Padlet, and then something like Flipgrid where you have that video communication, and WeVideo to create videos. With those 5 types of things, I thought, we could teach anything.
Right.
If you something where you have a video creation and you have communication and then collaboration, and that because the critical thinking will come in there. But I mean, just those tools just lend themselves to the 4 C's or the 5 C's or however many C's you want to do.
Well, like I think what a lot of those tools overlap. So Flipgrid will
Mhm.
overlap, Bunsey will overlap, video will overlap, but
Yeah.
then I'll have someone come into the room, into our office and say, okay, this is what I want to do. And I'll have to go through and I say, they may come in with the tool in mind and I'll be like, well, that's a good tool, but I think this one might be a little better.
Yeah.
And also sometimes, or we'll smash them together.
Mm.
Right.
Like,
Right.
let's make something and we'll share it on Flipgrid,
Yeah.
or use Wakelet, go right into Wakelet and record your Flipgrid video right into that. It
Yeah.
really depends. I always have to ask when the people come in, I ask them lots of questions, and they probably look at me like, "Okay, I came here for the answer. You're giving me questions." Yeah, because I was talking to a group of librarians the other day, and I said the most important tool you have, they're your ears, because if you're not
Mhm.
listening to people and what they need, then you're coming up with what you think they need.
Mm.
Right.
So people come in, and I've had secretaries come in. They've asked for help, and I said, "Okay, what is your goal? What are you trying to do? Give me all that information." And for librarians, that's our interview questions. We're asking them, "What are you trying to accomplish? What's the end result?" Then we will fit it for you. But if you come in saying, "I'm going to use this," sometimes it works, sometimes it doesn't. But
Mhm.
always think of what is the end result? What do you want kids to walk away with? What do you need to walk away with? And
Mm.
then we'll find the tools for that, or we'll organize it in a way that it works for you.
Yeah. And I think as far as a supportive career choice, anyone who is supporting someone else, that listening is key. That's really great. I love that. I'm gonna like write that at the top of all my letters.
Yeah, I know. There's a Native American saying, I think it's Native American, which is, God gave us one mouth, two ears.
Yeah,
And
that's true.
some people work on the opposite of working with two mouths, one ear.
Yeah, so one of your favorite tools, the book creator, you created something.
Yes. Whoops,
Oh,
there goes.
oh,
Oh,
I'm just going to hide this because I am in my bedroom, and then I guess the duct tape did fall.
okay.
I'm gonna put this back here. Pay no attention but to the man behind the screen. Yeah, I feel like Wizard of Oz right now. I just
Well,
threw
don't worry.
something.
The permanent one's going to be the podcast, so no one
Okay.
can see through that podcast.
Okay, so no one knows that right now I'm trying to fix a curtain behind me. Pay no attention. I'm very
Real
honest, and
life.
sometimes, it's real life.
yeah.
Book creator. Yeah, book creator in last spring, it was just when the pandemic began, and I was just gorging myself because every tech tool was like, here's a webinar, here's a Twitter chat, and I was just like, I'm like chomping, and I'm
Mm.
like stuffed. Felt like it was Thanksgiving, and I was like, roll me out of here. And if I'm feeling overwhelmed, and I know a lot of these tools, and I love learning, then these teachers must be really like, oh my gosh.
Yeah.
So I personally started with, I created three book creator. I used book creator to create 3 ebooks on Flipgrid. That's how I began it, because I said I kept answering the same questions for our teachers.
Mm.
A lot of the questions could be answered by a YouTube video, but my job is to help them. So I should find that YouTube video, or I should make the video. And
Oh, very good.
right, I should make it. So I create 3 Flipgrid books, levels 1, 2, and 3, and it tells you exactly what you will learn in the book. Gives videos, text, screenshots, everything, and at the end it says, congratulations, you learned such and such and such. And before, some people would say, oh, I need to learn how to do this. I go, here, this is level 2, or here is level 1. It wasn't that I was just giving them and I didn't want to teach them. It was the fact that when you're watching a webinar, you don't know where to go to get your answer, right?
Right.
But in the book creator, if I had a table of contents and I know exactly where I need to go and I could click it and get there, and at my
Mhm.
own pace, look at the screenshots, watch the video in a voice that I know, someone I
Mhm.
know, I feel better. So I was able to clone myself that way. And then you see on Amazon all these books about, distance learning. It's like, how to look really great on Zoom when your kids are at home, and you're like 5 stars, and you look at it and it's like it's a brochure. And, all this stuff is coming up on Amazon, and you're like, all right, where did you write that, in your basement in 2 days? It's like there was a lot of, there's good stuff coming out, but there's a lot of schlock.
Right.
It's just trash. And you're like, what is this? And I said, okay. So I crowdsourced these 2 books at the same time. It was the Epic ebook of web tools and apps, where we talk about the different web tools, and every tool is in about 2, 4, or 6 pages, double page spread, and they're in small bites. It's like an appetizer. And I crowdsourced that, and the Digital Librarian Survival Toolkit. And it gave people an opportunity, number one, to be an author if they've never been an author, because now they're in this ebook. I bypassed having it published, so it could always be updated, and it was current, and it wasn't like coming out to like months from now. And it took the work off my shoulders. I didn't have to do everything and know everything. Gave ownership to people, so everyone's information is in there. So let's say you want to learn Wakelet, you go to my friend Deb Zeman. If you want to learn green screen, you go to Jennifer Lamont. You go to those people as the experts, and you can reach out to them. And I've had librarians say that they've used the books with their teachers when they come into the library for collaboration. Like, oh, let's look through the book. Let's see what's there.
Awesome. There you go. Like if they need ideas or something. Like
exactly.
Something. Yeah.
So the Digital Librarian Survival Toolkit is more for librarians, but it could be for anyone, because we talk about Bitmoji classrooms, reading groups. It could be anyone could read it, but that's more by concept or idea or theme, whereas the Epic ebook is by the tool, the alphabetical order by the tool.
Cool. Yeah, and I think that's a good balance there between the theme and the tool.
Right.
When I was in ITS, they wanted, like, teachers will come to me and say, I need an app to teach algebra. Well, maybe you do, maybe you don't. Let's look at some of the tools we know, and maybe we can teach algebra with what we got here.
Right. Yeah. And also, I wanted people to see librarians as leaders. I wanted people to say, to have people to come and teach you about what things you already know, or I want people to see their librarians, all librarians, and even the ones in their schools, and the ones who aren't in their schools, as people they should go to. So that was like a kind of like a tool of advocacy as well.
That's beautiful. Awesome. Any last comments or thoughts or questions? We have just a few more minutes to wrap up. I think this would be a good pausing point. Kristina?
Well, I do want to invite people to our Ed Camp. It is on February 27th. You could just go to edcampcardigancamp.weebly.com. You can register. So far, we have about 800 people registered. And people are librarians are facilitating sessions. It's open to all librarians, but I'm sure you can come in. You can be honorary librarians that day.
Yay!
And people are setting up their own Zoom sessions and their own Wakelet collections. And again, I'm giving people ownership of running their own Zoom sessions. And if you register, you'll get the list of all the links. The links will not be advertised on the website because of privacy reasons.
Yeah.
So, maybe a day or two before, I'll send out the link with all the sessions. But we had this Egg Camp cardigan. We call it cardigan because, librarians wear cardigans. And we want it to be gender neutral because, we're bun heads, but not everyone has a bun.
Yeah.
So we had it at not last year, but the year before that, at our local public library. And we had school and public librarians come. There were about 100 of us.
Nice.
So I said, well, let's try to replicate it, and let's just do it virtually. So first time I'm doing it. Hopefully everything works.
Yeah.
And if things, lots of moving parts, if things don't work, well, then we fix them later. And that's why I'm called Bunhead with Duct Tape. That's my website, because I'll just fix it with some duct tape. Just like my screen.
Usually tape's very good.
Yeah, this one it was, I think I leaned on it and I pulled it down a little bit. I think I'm gonna hang hooks in my bedroom. I'll make this a little more permanent for next time.
Awesome. Yes. That could be your little studio.
Yes. How sad is that?
Hey, it's real life. Real life.
Oh, I had someone talk to me once from their closet.
Yeah.
Yes.
But it was probably quiet and insulated, They didn't
It was
have any
quiet.
noise.
And they had a curtain just like mine, and then they moved the curtain. I saw all their clothes. I'm like, oh, good. You're just like me.
That's awesome.
We're all in this together. And if we don't laugh and we're not honest, on social media, everything looks like unicorns and rainbows. But in real life, there are curtains behind us falling from duct tape. That's the way the world is.
Yeah.
Absolutely. Absolutely. That's awesome.
Oh, well, thank you for taking the time and joining both Karen and I on the show. So we are very honored that you have shared your experiences with us. And thank you to all our listeners out there too. Don't forget to follow us on Twitter at ChatWSK1. Find us and subscribe to our channel on Spotify, Google, and Apple to hear more about what is going on in education on both sides of the ponds. And I don't know, Karen, if you want to say, we are always looking for guests to share great things that they're doing in the classroom.
Sure. Yeah. Just message us on Twitter at ChatWSK1. And Kristina, thank you so much for sharing your wisdom. And we will hopefully have a chat sometime again.
We will. And thank you so much for having me. It was wonderful chatting with you ladies today.
Likewise.
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye. Have a great day.
You too.